Hello and welcome to Dad Got This, where we answer the tough questions like, what if you want to know how to grill up the Berkshire pork chops that I made for Monument Grills at the Wild Fork Foods grand opening in St. Pete, but you couldn't get there? And what do you call a Spanish pig? That second one's easy. ¿Por qué? That's right, I was out in the wild again, grilling for Monument Grills at a Wild Fork Foods grand opening. This time it was in St. Pete, Florida. I'm gonna show you how I made the grilled Berkshire pork chops using all Wild Food Forks ingredients on a Monument grill. Let's get to it. The first thing we need to do is preheat our Monument Denali 605, and we're gonna set it up for 2-zone cooking. All that means is we're gonna turn a couple burners on high and a couple burners on low. This is gonna allow us to sear on one side and cook on the other without worrying about burning or anything like that. When you're lighting a propane grill, always open the lid. Never light it with the lid closed. Explosions can happen. After you've turned it on, you can go ahead and close down the lid. Much safer that way. Let's go grab our ingredients from Wild Fork Foods. This is a Berkshire bone-in thick New York cut chop. They're great flavored. Berkshire pork is just got a different flavor to it. It just hits different, and they're wonderful. And as you can see, I mean thick. This bad boy is at least 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches thick. Nice and marbled, just a great looking chop. When you start with great ingredients, you don't need to do much. So I'm just gonna hit it with some Wild Fork Chicago steak and chop seasoning. And this has Hudson Valley salt, brown sugar, dried garlic, black pepper, ginger, dried onion, white pepper, and then some sort of hickory smoke thing added to it. Because this has salt in it, I am not adding any additional salt. And we're just gonna, from up high, hit it with a nice liberal coating, press it in, give it a flip. Press it in. And now for the sides, we can actually pick up and not have to use extra seasoning. We'll just pick up all this seasoning from the board. And maybe just a little extra dusting there at the end. That's it for prep. Now we're just waiting on the grill. Our grill is just about ready. One of the nice things about the Monument Grill is it has a digital thermometer. It's like 574 right now. So I'm perfect to go with that. I'm gonna take a little bit of vegetable oil, and I just got a paper towel in here, and I'm gonna soak this guy down a little bit. And now we're gonna go ahead and season our grill grates. I kind of do this almost every time I grill. Helps with stickage, helps keep your grill grates clean. It's a nice little thing to do. All we're gonna do, give them a little rub down. Gets a little dirty. Speaking of oil, I'm gonna use a little bit of avocado oil. I'm just gonna drizzle it here on my chop. Flip that guy over there. Now you wanna use a high heat oil, an avocado or something like that. You don't wanna use an olive oil. Olive oil is gonna burn and give you like a kind of a bitter taste, possibly. So, and this is just to help with a little bit of stickage. Let's get over to our grill. As you can see, I'm giving a little bit of a press. I wanna get good contact on this grill grate. I am over the sear burner, which is set to high, which is going to quickly put a crust on this pork chop. One way to check if you are ready to flip is to just give your food a little tug. If it comes up easily, you can flip it. Now, let me show you something. On this side, see those really dark black sections? That's a little bit over on your crust. See those nice golden brown sections? That's a little better. Now, I did that on purpose to show you guys. I did not actually mess up and leave that on there too long. This was just to show you guys the difference.
If you say so.
We are going to move this over to our cold section. Berkshire pork is supposed to be cooked to 145 Fahrenheit or Celsius. That is an internal temperature. That is gonna have a little bit of pink to it, and it's gonna be even pinker by the bone. That might worry some people. If you are worried about that, go ahead and cook your pork to a full 165. Just know that it's not gonna be as juicy and it's not gonna be as tender as the pork cooked to 145. According to all the FDA stuff, 145 is safe with Berkshire pork. This is your biggest friend when grilling. It's an instant read digital thermometer. This is gonna tell us the temperature of the food right at the center, right when we poke it. This is how you get perfectly cooked food. You don't guess, you don't grab here, you don't do that, you don't go, it's 4 minutes per side. All kinds of things could change. This temperature read, that's the real deal. Another nice feature of this Monument Grill is it comes with probes. So I can actually stick this probe in there and it's gonna monitor it, and I can just look over here and in an app and it'll tell me what my food is at. So I don't have to continually be poking it. Let's stick this guy in there. For the probe, you're gonna wanna put it in the thickest part of your chop, right down the center. Try to avoid any bone, just like that. And then over here, we have some little probe insert spots. Pop the probe right there. And now when I go into my Monument Grills app, I can see the grill is at 480 degrees. That's right over there. It's colder over where I'm at, so don't worry about that. And my food is at 82 degrees. Not bad. I can set my target temp for 145, and now I'll get a warning when this thing hits 145. Pretty nice, right? I'll flip it every once in a while just to make sure we're evenly cooking it, but it's a great way to cook perfect food. Now this two-stage method is the best way to cook your pork, but if you do not have time, you can grill these hot and fast. Just keep flipping them often over high heat until the middle reaches 145, and it's still gonna be delicious, but you're just gonna have a little bit more overcooked pork on the outside before you get to the perfectly cooked pork on the inside. If you're short on time, that is a great way to do it. And I did that quite a bit over at Monument Grills and the Wild Fork grand opening. These chops would be perfect just with grilling and seasoning, but because Wild Fork has it, they have a truffle demi-glaze. Really simple. We're gonna take this, put it in a pan, put it on the side burner, and cook it for 12 to 14 minutes. That's it. Now I can see my chop through the window, but let's take a look and see how it's actually doing. We're at about 135 Fahrenheit or Celsius. We'll flip that guy over like that. Our grill's beeping at us. We hit 145. Let's get this guy off. If I had to say so myself, that's about a perfect looking pork chop. Now, we're gonna let this rest for about 10 minutes, which should give us just enough time to finish off our sauce. Our chop has rested 10 minutes. Our sauce is done. Let's go ahead and see how we did. First thing we'll do is we'll cut off the bone. You wanna get as close to the bone as possible so you're not wasting any meat. All right, the bone is off. Like I said, a little bit of pink. Don't be scared. We'll cut right down the center. Man, that cuts like butter. And that, folks, is a perfectly cooked Berkshire pork chop. Little bit of pink, that is fine. Now I'm just gonna cut this nicely into little serving slices. Let's try a piece of the pork, just the pork. Oh man, that's a great seasoning. And that pork is absolutely perfect. It's got like a richness of flavor to it that is different than other pork. Now, for the fun part, let's see how our truffle demi-glaze, if it accentuates it. We'll take a centerpiece. Absolutely beautiful. A little more sauce. Oh, that's a winner. That sauce, it's amazing. Just complements the pork really well, especially with that seasoning. Not that this is a hard recipe to pull off, but I'm gonna have a link down in the description to the principal recipe. It's gonna have all the instructions. It's gonna have links to all the products, the meats, the seasonings, the sauce, the grill, everything you would need to go ahead and pull off this exact cook at home so you could have a taste of my food at home. I wanna thank Monument Grills for having me out to the events. They're the ones who are taking me out to all these events and letting me cook for you guys in person live. I also want to thank Wild Fork Foods for providing all of this amazing food, all of these ingredients. If you're enjoying this, please do the YouTube stuff. Likey, subscribe. YouTube loves it when you leave a like. I love it when you leave a comment. I answer just about every comment in my comment section. If you really want to support this channel, consider becoming a member. Members get early access to videos, behind the scenes updates, shout outs, producer credits, all kinds of fun stuff. Appreciate each and every one of you who is a member. So we have answered the question of how do you cook the dish that I made at Wild Fork Foods grand opening for Monument Grills. Guess that only leaves one question to answer. What did the pig who opened up a pawn shop call his store? Ham hocks. Yeah, pretty bad. Dad may tell horrible dad jokes. Cook amazing pork thanks to Monument Grills and Wild Fork Foods. But one thing Dad will never do is an outro. So that's it. Bye.
This episode of Dad Got This was brought to you by our producers. Thank you very much.